that go on to wonderful college soccer careers and then become professionals. That would be a fantastic moment for us years down the road. But you got to be motivated, so it can't be think you would want to keep playing. You have to be open-minded about where and at what level. You can see on the left there are a number of different levels for you. You have to be realistic as well. Our coaches will help you be realistic when they need to. But for now, really open-minded. If you say, I have two colleges, I either want to go to Stanford or Harvard, right? And I have to play on their soccer teams. Well, you've narrowed it down tremendously, made it very difficult for yourself. You have to be proactive. And this is as much for the players as it is for the parents. I'll admit, I've got a son who's about to make a college decision. He's going to play somewhere. I've helped him quite a bit, no doubt about that. But he's right alongside. And players have to own the process, okay? So here is your word of the day, okay? Proactive. It's basically someone who says, listen, I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to wait for it to happen, okay? No one's going to tap you on the shoulder, guys, okay? So let's work through how we make this all happen, all right? Get ready to take a Kahoot quiz. That'll be just a fun way to get us started. We'll talk about what the college placement program is. We already have our first success stories, our wall of famers. I want to share those with you. The various levels of college soccer. It's a huge landscape. The different levels requiring different experiences and different commitments. When you should start being proactive and what you should do every year. Getting on the radar of college programs, that's probably the most important thing. And then I'll show you what our website looks like now, a page that we've created for you. We'll answer any questions for those who want to stick around. We'll also talk about what we're going to do for you next. It's not just give you a slideshow, on a random day in August and then and then do something else. Okay. All right. So Kahoot, you players, open up your phones, pull out that Kahoot app. If you don't have the Kahoot app, or you don't want to play officially, play along with us a little bit here. Okay. All right, so this is the number that you have to put in there. And this is where Christy or Ray could jump on the call here and let me know if there's an issue. But it looks like we've already got names going in, so that's great. The winner of this 5-question Kahoot quiz is gonna take home some pretty cool Valor swag, right? Thanks, Ray. Got your text. Hope and Reese are in it together. I don't know. That's called teaming up. It should be solo only. I'm going to give you about 5 more seconds to get your names in there. Parents are welcome. But if a parent wins, I don't know. We might just give you a firm handshake when we're allowed to do that in about 2.5 years. Give you another 10 seconds to get your names in. You can still play along. If you win this thing, if you win it, player, you need to put your name, your real name. I like some of these nicknames. I want you to put your real name in there and your email address. And I will seriously get you some Valor swag. All right, here we go. 70 players. 3, 2, 1, we're playing. Just 5 questions. What is the total of allowable full ride college soccer scholarships across the entire country? Under 1,000, between 1,000 and 7,000, between 7,000 and 27,000, or over 27,000. You only have 5 seconds left. How about that? I'm going to show you how all those numbers add up. How many confirmed players did Valor place in college soccer in its very first year? Just one, two, three, or four? And there's one of them right there. You got 5 seconds. We put 4 players, and that's that we know of. And it's kind of a crazy time, obviously. Some of these kids aren't even really on campus yet, and all of their programs, their seasons have been moved to the spring, but Indy's in the lead. Question 3, just true or false. If a student has a GPA of at least 3.55, he or she only needs to score 400 on the SAT to be eligible for Division I college soccer. Five seconds. True. It's called a sliding scale. The better you do with your GPA, the less pressure you have on your test scores to become eligible. Two more. You can select more than one here. Which of these college soccer level of programs in the Seattle-Tacoma area? NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA. Five seconds. All 4 have programs in the Seattle-Tacoma area. All right, Macy. Last question. This is worth double the points. You have to put them in order. Put them in order. There are many ways for prospects to be seen by a college coach. Rank the effectiveness of these events from most to least. So the first one you slide in there is the easiest way to be seen by a college coach. High school varsity matches, ID camps held by the specific college, college showcase club tournaments, and club regular season matches. Three seconds left. Oh, okay. 20% of you got it exactly right. There's the correct order. ID camps, club showcase tournaments, club regular season matches. The least effective way would be to say, come see my high school match. Just the reality. All right, so third place, C. Welch. That's a good job, dude. Out of 70 people, Aubrey's number 2, and our winner is Macy. I think that might be Macy Kim, but I'm not certain. So if you are the winner, put your real name, full name, I guess, your email address in the chat. Okay. So good job. Macy knows what she's doing. All right. Go full screen here and continue with the slideshow. It will answer a lot of those questions, explain some things. Christy, can I just get a heads up that you can see the Valor Soccer CPP slide?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right, so what is a college placement program? I think you read this in the email, but this is what we're launching here tonight. Exclusive materials such as email templates for college coaches, list of programs, ID camps, highlight videos. You're all going to need a highlight video. It's that simple, especially in this COVID era. We're going to provide a year-by-year checklist for you and your parents to stay on track. Don't freak out when you see it, because some of you will. You'll be behind. Regular communication. I'm always available to talk about it with you. So is Ray Johnson. So is Derek Sharp. So is Justin Berger, our directors. But your coaches are going to get this information, and they're going to be a good sounding board as well. Obviously, we want to celebrate the players who do make it. We're going to have signing ceremonies. We're going to add you to our wall of fame. A college placement page on the Valor Soccer website. It's already up there. We'll show it to you in a little bit. And then webinars like this. This one is all informational and all Keith going blah, blah, blah. The next one we hope will be in person, knock on wood. It will include a college coach, a college player, and another special guest to basically create a panel for you and answer the tough questions. All right. First thing we do is celebrate our first class. And when I did this research, I was really happy to find out about this. I'm new to the club, so I don't know these players specifically, but congratulations to Olivia Cowley, who is going to Lewis and Clark in Oregon. Brandon Day, a goalkeeper, going to Northwest Nazarene over in Idaho. I think he left for school yesterday, communicating with his mom. Isaiah Trask is going to Ohio, University of Findlay. And Amelia Harrison is staying close. She's a goalkeeper, and she can actually play a number of positions. She's going to Green River College. It's pretty simple. I've said it already. Our club, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, so I think I speak for all the directors when I say we're going to take as much, if not more, pride in the individual development of players. What you do with soccer next, okay, rather than a victory in a Valor shirt that's already come and gone. Okay, we're about developing players and people, trying to equip them to make the next move in life. It doesn't have to include soccer, but you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't think it might. Will you be the next person to join the Wall of Fame? You kind of have to ask yourself. Look at these numbers. So this is where that 27,000 comes in, okay? Women's soccer programs have more scholarships total than men. That's because of Title IX. You can look that up. Division I, you can see that they have 14 scholarships per team. Men only 9.9. Division II is pretty similar. Look at all of the programs that there are. There are 253 Division II programs. I was talking to a team that I was training this afternoon, and I said to them, if you get rid of all of the Division I full rides, how many are left for women? And it's over 10,000. Division III does not give out athletic scholarships, but there are plenty of other ways to get financial aid and grants, and the coaches know all about it. The NAIA is totally separate from the NCAA. A local school in the NAIA is like Northwest University in Kirkland. And then there's, of course, the junior college route. And look at that. There are more full rides or scholarships available at the junior college era or at level than there are at any NCAA level. Now, they do split these up. So the concept of a full ride in college soccer is a myth. Let me say that again. The concept of a full ride in college soccer is a myth. It is very rare for anyone, even youth national team players, to get full rides to schools. They split them up so that they take a 14 scholarship program and they divide it in half, and now they can give aid to 28 kids. And that's for the entire 4-year band. So some examples of the levels and the experiences, you can kind of glance at this if you'd like. I'm going to talk more about things generally. Division I, sure, everybody wants to go play D1. No doubt, it's probably the most celebrated level. It's an extremely intensive commitment. I've had players say to me, I played Division I soccer, but it was back in the 1920s, so it was very different. But right now, players that play say to me, Coach, it's like having a full-time job. It's literally almost 40 hours a week, never mind classes and homework in season, and even more year-round. I shouldn't say there's even more commitment as you go around the year as well, maybe not quite to the level that the fall is. Division II, a little bit more of a balance, but very demanding in the fall. You almost feel like a soccer player first and a college student second, and that can be very difficult in the fall. Division III is much more emphasis on academics, slightly less intensive, but it's still high-level soccer. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'll say this. Division III soccer is as good as Division II soccer. And I can answer the question why if you're interested, but we'll keep it going here. NAI is a totally different level and different organization. Generally smaller schools, very international soccer rosters. You don't have many rules. They can literally bring in a 32-year-old and have them play soccer. And they can even work around some professional experience. So really interesting rosters at that level. And then, of course, junior college is a 2-year program, but it's a great bridge to make the next step. I've said this before, but if you wait for a college coach to tap you on the shoulder and hand you a scholarship, you got less of a chance of that happening than you do being Charlie and getting Willy Wonka's golden ticket. Paul Ratcliffe, the head coach for Stanford, is not just going to walk up to you at Ravensdale someday and say, congratulations, son, you're going to be a Cardinal for 4 years, full ride. So you need a plan, okay? There are boxes that you need to check. And I don't want to frighten any parents out there, but the checklist started or will start your freshman year in high school. So you high school juniors and seniors, don't freak out on me. I'm here for you. But you do need to catch up a little bit. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. We have a full PDF that you can print out and put up on your wall. Freshman year, concern yourself with grades. Get off to a good start academically, okay? Don't worry about any college coaches. You should, however, create a top 20 list. So when we get together as our freshman class in our next meeting, you're going to bring a top 20 list. It has to have multiple levels. I was talking to a player today. If you hand me your top colleges list and there are 3 schools on that list and they're all Division I, I'm gonna be like that mean teacher and hand it back to you and say, work not good enough, please redo. You need to have all levels. You can start to email college coaches and let them know, hey, I'm gonna be in a tournament. Here's my schedule, but they're not gonna reply to you because most of them can't. So it's gonna be like throwing it in a black hole. But you might just turn around one day and see somebody that looks like a college coach on the sideline. And yes, you should consider attending 1 or 2 college ID camps. Choose wisely and don't break the bank. It's only maybe to get on the radar of one of your top 2 schools, put it that way. So now you're a sophomore, okay? Your grades are still the most important thing. You need a 2.2 to be eligible to play Division I or Division II. You only need a 2-point GPA to play NAIA. But let's be honest, dudes and ladies, if you say my GPA is 2.3 and the college coach also has a prospect that has a 3.3 and you guys are even, he's going with the 3.3. So I always say a good bar is 3.5. It's not like football. It's not like Division I men's basketball. They can't take too many shortcuts academically. You do need to register with the Eligibility Center if you think you're gonna play NCAA, and NAIA if you think you're gonna play NAIA. I'd click on these links, but I don't want to take us too far down any specific path. You can ask questions about that or look at it later on your own. Now you pair your list from 20 to 15. Okay, register as a prospective recruit on those websites. So go to all 15 of those soccer websites, and most of them have here's a recruit form. Fill it out, get on their email list, okay? And then continue to email coaches. Again, most will not reply because they can't really touch you until after you're a sophomore, unless we're talking about NAIA or Division III. But do not freak out because you're not getting any love back, all right? 2 or 3 ID camps your sophomore year, ideally of different levels so that you kind of get a taste for what the various levels are and the experience that you have. And then this is really important, video highlight reel. Begin compiling multiple matches of you playing soccer. That for me is almost a mandatory. And then unofficial visits. Go ahead and drive through a campus if you're anywhere near one. Sometimes if you go into the athletic department and you walk the hallways, you might run into the coach. They may not be able to do much with you in that moment, but it's okay to kind of get a lay of the land. All right, then you get to your junior year, things get a little bit heavier. Make sure you're on course to graduate. This is when you start taking the ACT or the SAT. You will ultimately submit those scores to the NCAA. Now just keep pairing your list, right? So we've gone from 20 to 15 to 10. Include schools that have watched you play. So for example, you're now a junior and you know for a fact that 2 schools that were not on your top 20 list have come and watched you play and given you some feedback or have confirmed that they saw you. They should be on your list right away, okay? Even if you've never heard of the school. Coaches may now start to reply and reach out to you. Again, it comes in drips and drabs, right? It's not overwhelming for 99% of college soccer prospects. A couple more ID camps. And then you've got to have a highlight video created by the time your junior year starts. Write emails to coaches on, say, your top 10 list and say, here's my video, coach. You got to see this. And then this is important. Ask your Valor coach, it could be current or past, to write a letter of reference for you. I am going to click on this one real fast. But here's an example of a letter that a coach like myself or your coach could write for you, that you can include attached to any email that you send out. References are very, very important. They can't always just take your word for it that you're a great player and just assume that the video gives you the perfect, gives them a really good idea as to who you are as a player and a person. Take unofficial visits, and try to go watch the team that you're interested in play. And there are a lot of ways to do that. Even you don't have to drive all the way to Utah to watch Utah Valley play soccer. You can find a YouTube video or go on their website. Sometimes they have replays of streaming matches. So do that, because you want it to be a good fit for you, not just for them. Senior stuff, it starts to get pretty important. Make sure you've got the NCAA core courses covered. Your academic record is still hugely important. It's going to be a lot easier for schools to get you in. They don't really want to put up a battle. Again, it's not, you're not a 5-star quarterback who's choosing between, 10 schools. So unless you're very lucky, start the application process, but this is stuff you should already know. Now you've got a top 5 list. Now you really should be specific about the ID camps that you attend, the ones that have expressed interest in you. Updating your highlight video is important. If it has clips of you when you were 10 years old, dribbling down the 50-yard long field, past 4 kids who are no longer playing the sport and probably never should have, and scoring a goal, that's not going to impress anybody. It should be stuff from your last year and a half. Official recruiting visits to any schools who provide the opportunity. If they ask, my advice, you go. If they're willing to foot the bill, which some of them might, you go. Communication with coaches is now allowed, but again, you've got to be proactive, all right? Especially the ones that seem to be a legitimate possibility. Reach out to them regularly, and reply to anybody who contacts you, even unexpectedly. Here's this checklist on the bottom right. I'm not going to click on that link. That'll be available to you here in a matter of minutes, really. So if you have any questions so far, go ahead and just pump them into chat there. I can't see anything but my slideshow, and I don't really want to stop because I want to just kind of get through this. And I take a quick sip of water here. Water, best thing ever. Add a little Mio drops. You guys do the Mio drops? Like the strawberry watermelon? Oh, come on. All right, how do you get on the radar of college programs? Regular communication, okay? This starts as a one-way experience, and by that I mean you're sending lots of emails and they ain't doing squat. That is normal for freshmen and sophomores, even juniors. Attendance at college ID camps, they are expensive, so choose very wisely. Give you some advice on that in a second. Highlight videos, multiple matches, not full matches. Quality is better than quantity. Talk about that in a second. Okay, so the communication we're talking about, you guys, I think most coaches still prefer email. Once they start texting and calling you, you start texting and calling them back. But I would be very professional with your emails. You don't want your email address to be I'm the real Megan the Stallion at hotmail.com. Okay. Or Johnny Cool Dude, God's gift to soccer at Gmail. All right. No misspellings, and don't make them generic. Okay. Put the coach's name at the top. Don't write dear coach emails. Put a line or two in there that mentions the school at the very least. And don't expect any replies until the summer before your senior year. If you get them earlier than that, great. Okay. Here's an example of an email that you would send to a coach in advance of a tournament. Again, this is on our website as of last night. So you can go look at that. It's just a template. It's a PDF. I don't even really want you to copy and paste. I want you to get a good idea, but be specific. Tell them what your jersey number is. Tell them what field you are. Provide a link to the directions to the field. So on and so forth. Okay? Attendance at college ID camps. I said it's very important. If you have 3 or 4 dream schools and they're fairly close, yes, you should definitely consider those ID camps. All right. I will tell you this, that the biggest college soccer programs, I'll be candid here, Stanford, University of Washington, Santa Barbara is a good example. I'm just speaking anecdotally. Sure, they might find a gem. But those are as much to generate revenue as they are to identify recruits. Just be realistic about it. ID camps held by a specific school of interest. So let's say you're really interested in Montana State Billings. Okay, I just saw an email from them today. And you can somehow get out there. You got family in Montana, right? Or whatever. And you check and you see that they're going to run a camp and that they're going to also be coaches from 3 or 4 other schools there. That's a really good opportunity, in my opinion. There are some third-party combination ID camps that are run for profit. They're not terrible, but if you run down to San Diego, just because it has a list of 50 college coaches going to come watch, they may not all show up. And if none of them are schools that interest you, you're wasting your money. I will click on this here. If you've heard of this website, NCSA, Next College Student Athlete, yes, they are out to make a buck, I'm not gonna lie, but they are extremely comprehensive, probably the leader in the industry at the moment. And you can get all kinds of information from them before you even pay them a penny. If you realize that something you want to be marketed by them or have some more guidance, by all means investigate. But one of the things that they have, and again, be careful with this because these have been hugely impacted by COVID. But NCSA does a really good job of aggregating ID camps. I thought I might do this for us, for you, but I can't beat this. So this link here can be found on their website. And obviously, if you get the slide deck, you can have that too. And then there's one for the men as well. Double check on all of those, okay? Videos, all right? I know once I start playing these videos, you're probably gonna stop paying attention to me and watch the video, and that is a lesson in itself. Video is impactful. Video is powerful, especially if you're trying to grab the attention of a coach at Wellesley on the East Coast, and you're 3,000 miles away, all right? So highlight videos, and I will play these. I think I've got them on mute. One is, yes, my son, and another one is another video that I created, player pack. That one doesn't be you can kind of see what a quality video looks like. These are probably going to be very laggy for you, but it is the best way to show yourself if a coach hasn't seen you play in person. The clip should run between 2 minutes and, the video in full should run between 2 minutes and 6 minutes. It should include clips from multiple matches. If you had one great match against that terrible team, and all you show are the 3 goals that you scored, and they're all very similar, that is not as powerful as your first 4 clips all being from different matches, okay? And it should be updated and recreated on an annual basis. It also probably goes saying, but you need to show the various attributes of yourself as a player. Yes, you want to show what you're best at, but you also want to show, and this gets me to my next kind of slide here, show context. So a few seconds before you get the ball, sometimes your movement off the ball, and then maybe what results, but you don't have to show 2 minutes ahead and after your contribution. All functions, so some attacking stuff, some defending stuff. It could even be a moment where you never really even touch the ball, but you have an impact in some way. Coaches are always looking for technical players and players who can pass the ball. Just some tips from me. Avoid very, very wide angle video. Okay, very difficult for a coach to understand what's going on if it's ants just scurrying around a parking lot. Okay, and also try to make it an elevated angle. This form here, yeah, I'll click on it real fast. Is available on the website, and it's got a little more detail. Okay, you do not need to be a professional, nor does your parent. And yes, you could use one or two clips that are from field level if you can clearly see what's happening. You can use wide angle video if you have the ability to like freeze it and put a ring around yourself. My other life was as a broadcaster, so I've got some ability in video editing, and I can definitely provide some support for you if you need it. And we can, I've created videos for players. So all of this is on the college placement program page on our website, okay? So let's take a look at that. Actually, almost done, guys. So if you go to Valor Soccer, you go to resources, and you go to college placement. Here's the page, okay? My email address if you need to reach me, an explanation as to what the program is. We've started our wall of fame, which we hope to increase and add to. There's the information on tonight's webinar that will obviously update for the next one or remove. And then down here is really the stuff that I think will help you quite a bit. There are two tabs. So you got your college soccer checklist here. Okay. Player highlight video tips. This is that example of the email that you send to college coaches. I should make a point here. Hopefully you're still with me, guys, because this is an important point I should have made earlier. When you play in a college showcase tournament, you can go to their website, the tournament website, and most of them have a tab or a page or a list of college coaches who are planning to attend. You then have to do the work. Go to their website, find their email address, and reach out to them. But you don't have to guess at who's coming. And unless you have inside information that a coach is coming, I would probably stick to the list of coaches who are on the tournament's website, if that makes sense. The slides to this presentation are already up there. So you can kind of scroll back through this if you'd like. And then I did want to share this with you. That sliding scale that we talked about on the Kahoot quiz. And it's a little bit different for each level. Division I, so see it says here, if my core GPA is 3.55, I only have to score a 400 on the SAT to become eligible. Meanwhile, if I struggle and just have the minimum of 2.3, I then am forced or now mandated to score at least 980 on the SAT to become eligible in my first year. Here is where you have to redshirt because you got to prove that you can handle it academically. Division II is very similar. Okay, might be helpful for you there. And then these links here, there are some tabs that link to the ID Camp page that I showed you that NCSA creates. Eligibility Center, we talked about needing to register for that. This is a link, just kind of NCAA has a page for future student athletes. All right. So it's a little overwhelming, maybe a lot overwhelming. You know, you literally don't have to do every single thing that we've talked about in this webinar. You can, as I've said before, fall behind. You can start late and still make things happen. I can't tell you how many players I've worked with over the years that didn't even think about college soccer until they were halfway through their senior year and they still made something happen. Is it harder? Yes. Have your opportunities been lessened? Yes, they have. But those people are or still have a chance to make it happen. You have to be proactive in a lot of the areas that we've talked about tonight. So go ahead and put any questions in chat. I do want to share for you what we do next. First of all, hopefully this is a meeting where I see your faces and you see mine. The next one, on a quarterly basis. We'll probably bring kids in by year. So come in for 30, 45 minutes. And rather than a slideshow, we'll just sit down with kids. They'll bring their laptop and they'll show us their lists, those kind of things. We'll also do a panel. So we'll kind of go back and forth, but I do think it'd be a good idea to hear from college coaches. I've already talked to one this week that's willing to come on and chat with you. And one of the Wall of Famers will join us and talk about their experience. Of course, they won't have played any college soccer by the fall because there's no college soccer until the spring. And I should just quickly add regarding COVID, Division I, no in-person recruiting is allowed through September. Unofficial or email and text and stuff, that can take place, but they're not allowing official visits, and you can't meet in person. Division II, same thing, except just through August. I have a feeling they'll extend it. Division III, they're sort of free to do their own thing, but there's kind of an unspoken pact, from what I understand, where they're not going hard and heavy to anybody right now. So we're going to provide those resources on the website. Where I'm going to make sure that your head coach has all this information. We're going to monitor your progress via meetings by class. I discussed that. We'll inform you of any updates or additions to the college placement program, and we'll have more of these webinars, okay? We want to celebrate our players who, by being proactive, make the next level. You're not a failure if you don't play college soccer. What I would say is if you love the game and you don't want a really high performance environment to come to an end after you graduate high school, well then now's your chance to kind of set yourself up for the next 4 years. Keep soccer going. Plus, I think a couple parents might agree with me on this, but adding a little structure to your college routine actually helps young people. When they have to be at practice at 8 a.m., they generally don't go to that party down the block. When they know that they've got to be fully ready to compete on the weekend, or they're going to go on a road trip, they generally get their homework done, classwork done. So it can be a great complement to your college experience. And that's what I would say at the end of all this is that, yes, Valor Soccer does want to be very proud of its players who go play college soccer. And we're going to celebrate you, no doubt about that. But all we want it to be is a great compliment to the next experience of your life as a human being. And we want you to go where you need to go. So I would say never, ever choose a college program never, ever choose a college because of the soccer program. Okay? Maybe 5% of players out there that are playing college soccer that truly chose the program just because of the soccer. Look into the school. What majors do they have? What's the size? What's the geographical location? Do you see yourself there? If you were to stop playing soccer, and this is where I'll speak honestly with you, I went to Santa Clara. I thought I was going to be a hotshot soccer player, and even though there was no professional league at that time in the U.S., I went down as a soccer player, and within 2 years, I wasn't playing. And I'll share my experience on one of these panel discussions, but I was still very happy at Santa Clara University. So I'm glad that I considered other things. All right. Okay. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to stay on for another 10 minutes and answer every question that is on the chat function here. We'll go through it quickly. I'll give you my candid response. I won't go on at length. I'm proud of myself for only going 46 minutes. Because I do, well, my players will tell you that, we don't end on time. I have a 15-minute grace period. So I gave you 13 minutes of your life back right now. Thank you for joining us. Go to the CPP page on the website and let us answer these questions now. Should you go to the same or different ID camps each year? Very good question. First of all, don't go to just Division I ID camps. Okay, go to if you're a freshman or a sophomore, go to one big Division I camp where there are going to be 100 kids and maybe a bunch of college coaches from various programs. Go ahead, go. But understand that's as much a camp as it is a tryout. Okay, in other words, they're there to take your buck, have you have a great time, play against good players, get a T-shirt, go home the end. Bye-bye. Okay. The Division II, Division III, and AIA camps are a little more about identifying a couple players. If you have a school, I'll just throw out a school as an example. Western Washington. The Division II school has both men's and women's soccer programs, both quite strong. They both had great years in 2019. The women got to the national final. The men won the NWAC, or the GNAC, excuse me. If you really are interested in Western Washington and you can afford it, and it's only up in Bellingham, I would go to that camp 4 years in a row. I would, because they'll know who you are by the time you're a senior. Now, they might tell you something in your junior year, like you might get a vibe that you're not going to make it there, or they don't, what they're looking for is not what you have, or vice versa. Then maybe you make a decision. But I would, more than going to the same ID camp every year, I would experience different levels. And I wouldn't overdo it. I've seen kids become ID camp zombies, and they go to like 3 ID camps in a week and a half. You think they're any good in that 3rd ID camp? No. But again, the best ID camps for me are the ones that are held by slightly smaller schools and also have other coaches from other college programs attending. And those are the ones you should look for. Okay. When you are selecting ID camp, that's a good one from Ray. So Ray Johnson, our DOC, says when you're selecting an ID camp, feel free to ask your coach or the directors if that one's a good one to attend. So yes, we can get off the webinar and we can give you our off-the-record opinions on some of these things. Yeah, I think I've given a couple hints to mine, but yeah. Are we no longer using NCSA? Okay, next, college student athlete. Again, I'll get off and continue conversations with people about this. There's College Fit Finder. There's NCSA. There's Captain U. There is, I think it's called Next Level or something like that. One of the college coaches I was talking with this week mentioned an East Coast program that he really was selling hard to me, like saying, Keith, this is the one. The other ones are out to make a buck, blah, blah, blah. I think that's called American College Advisors or something. I looked at it. I don't know any of the specific people because they're East Coast guys. These are programs that can help you. As I told a player today, my belief is for the vast majority of you, if you do the things that we're providing to you through your Valor experience and check off as many of these things as you can on the list each year, you don't need any of those programs. If you have, expendable income, or you have unlimited resources, or you want to go hot and heavy and fast, I'm sure they have a platinum plan that will give you an opportunity to work hand in hand with somebody. But there are no agents in college soccer, right? Nobody has the power more than you have the power yourself to get yourself somewhere. So hopefully that answers the question. And I will look into, are we going to do College Fit Finder? I had a conversation with Ray about that this week. Will we get a club deal with NCSA going, or renew it if that's accurate in the situation? Being one of the new guys, and the fact that I think we can do 85% of all this on our own, save you $1. we'll see if we need to take that next step. I will say this, there is a platform called Scouting Zone, and a lot of college tournaments are college showcase tournaments like Surf Cup, like the Pac Northwest ID Classic, like Crossfire. We might do it with our tournament if we ever get to hold one, beyond pandemics. They marry their tournament with Scouting Zone. You get a free Scouting Zone account for that event. And that helps promote you a little bit. For 2021 graduates, is it true that the SAT are not applicable due to COVID circumstances? I do know that the NCAA is lessening requirements. Their banner right on the top of their website, when you get to the right page, gives all the links for that, and it changes. So are there going to be, is it going to be a lower bar to clear to become eligible to play college soccer as a 2021 freshman? Yes, I don't think there's any doubt about that. There's also a movement, I'm sure parents know about this, but a lot of these schools are not even considering SAT or ACT scores anymore. They're making that optional. So look into that as well. Here's what I'll say, players, we're still on this call. If you're looking to just barely make it, you're not going to make it. If you've got a 2.4 GPA and you just squeak out the SAT at, whatever it is, 800, sure, you're eligible, but I'm just giving you the hard and cold facts. There are 10 other girls or 10 other boys lined up right behind you with better GPA and a better SAT score, and they're probably going to go in that direction. So if you ask me what is the most important thing to impress a college soccer coach, honestly, it's your academic record, because it makes the difference. Now, once things are equal, they're going to pick the soccer player they like best, right? But after academics, and they've seen the video and they've seen two players play, now what do you think they do? Ask yourself this question, okay? You're a college soccer coach. You got two players. They both have 3.3 GPAs. SAT, fine. Both have applied. Both are going to get in. They've seen both play. Same positions. Similar skill set. Rate them totally equally. Which one are they going to extend an offer to? And by offer, that doesn't mean full ride. That means we would like to invite you to join our program. Here's what we can do for you financially. The next thing they're going to do, and this is for another day perhaps, they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call Ray Johnson. They're going to call your high school coach. They're going to call Paul McElvaney. They're going to call Justin Berger. They're going to call Derek Sharp. They're going to say, tell me about this kid. Does she come to training? Is she coachable? Can she play multiple positions? Does she want the ball? But what's her attitude like? What kind of person is she? Hugely important. Kind of got off topic there, but should highlight videos be from only 1 year or include multiple years? I touched on this. I don't think you should have any video in a highlight reel that's more than 2 years old. I think you'll notice, coaches will notice right away, that's 2 years old. And plus, players change physically in a big way from their freshman to their senior year. If you have an incredible goal, a banger, a golazo, a side volley from 25 yards out in the final of the Crossfire Challenge, upper 90, caroms off the underside of the bar, parents run onto the field. Yeah, I'd keep that one in my video reel, even if it is 3 years old. Maybe end with it, but renew, okay? Current circumstances, how do you suggest we approach ID camps? Right now, there ain't no ID camps. None, zero, zilch. I shouldn't say that, but 95% of the ID camps are out. But they're coming back online. Just got one today. I think I referenced it already, but Montana State Billings sent one to me saying we've got an ID camp. Trust me, a lot of these programs are going to cram ID camps in the minute that they're approved to do it. So again, advice I gave to a player today. Make your list of 20 schools. Bookmark those schools' soccer web pages. Check them right now, honestly, I would check them every week. Make it a habit. My dog is chasing a bone around on the floor. Was my comic relief. Make a habit of going back. Do that prospective recruit thing so you're on their email list. And we'll try to help as well. Okay. Valor College Placement Program versus NCSA. Interesting question. The cost of the Valor College Placement Program is $0. NCSA will ultimately charge you at some point. What we're doing here is what you pay for when you pay your annual player fee. And if we didn't have this as it existed in our first year, this club is growing very quickly, both in size, but also structure, professionalism, resources, and this is part of it. We're not going to leave you behind on this. Are you going to hear from us about the college placement program every week? No. But high school age kids are going to be guided on a quarterly basis through this. So free is the answer to that question. Then there's a question saying, I just joined Valor, playing select. Is there any way to make it to a premier team? Absolutely there is, young man or young woman. I think it's young man. I wanted to say this. Could a player play on a Valor select team, never move up to premier and still play college soccer? Yes. Yes. Will it be a little more difficult? Yes. But it can happen. So don't feel like you have to be at a certain level to make the jump. It's all about you improving your game, being proactive. There's your word for the night. And yes, if you do want to climb the ladder, obviously tryouts were virtual this year. Next year, we'll have our premier tryouts, I believe, followed by our select tryouts. So every player will have an opportunity to choose the program that's best for you. But you can make it from any level. You can make it from any neighborhood. Is it easier for some than others? Yeah, it is. But everybody can make it work for themselves. Okay. Handle all the questions. And it's 9:29. Good stuff. Okay. So I do see a little record button up here. We'll try to get this out in a link in some way. That might take a couple days. But the slideshow is available to you right now on the website. Communicate with your coach regularly. Don't be afraid to reach out to myself, but it doesn't have to just be me. If you know Ray better than me, or you walk by him, he's a wealth of information. So is Derek. So is Justin Berger. So is Peter Hattrip. So is Paul McElveny. So is, I can go on, right? Tesh, Salter, all these guys that are coaching our older teams. They all have a story to tell and some advice to give. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.